This episode of A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live is brought to you in part by Viewfinder's Identity Search and Design. Your choice for web design, graphic design, and all multimedia development needs. Visit VFISAD.com and let us bring your vision to reality.
Hi guys, this is Ruben Langdon. You're listening to A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live. Shoryuken!
Welcome to the show to give you all the news, views, and opinions in the world of gaming. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live Extras Select Start with your host, A.C.M.G. Josiah. Power up and game on.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live Extra Select Start. I am your host, A.C.M.G. Josiah. Folks, as you realize, or if you're a gamer, you should know that the Game Awards was yesterday, live in Los Angeles at the Microsoft Theater. That may hint off as to what type of announcements they had last night, but we had 3.5 hours of just absolute great entertainment, hosted by Jeff Keighley and created and founded by Jeff Keighley, who has every year done a fantastic job. People, you got to realize something. This is one guy. Jeff Keighley, if you guys know, if you guys have been watching from way back, if you're a gamer that's as old as me and watched the era where G4 was around and game trailers was around, Jeff Keighley been around all of that. He Attack of the Show, all this stuff. He's been in the business for quite some time. A Canadian gamer who just loves it so much that he wanted to keep it going. He was working in game trailer. He all of a sudden, after game trailer defunct, he decided that he wanted to continue celebrating video games, much like Reggie Fils-Aimé, much like Hideo Kojima and all these other great iconic figures. He's in the mix of becoming one of those iconic figures himself because of the formation of the Game Awards, which every year gets bigger and bigger, and this one was no different. This year was so much more like, this felt like the Oscars for video games. This really felt like the Golden Globes for video games. This was at all a very good event. I thought that overall, the show was entertaining. I felt that the world premieres was really good. Not as good as last year. Not as good. There was way more explosive announcements last year, in my opinion, and exciting announcements last year than it was this year. But overall, it's not to say that they weren't good at all. It's just like the announcements that they had last year was just mind-blowing. And even though some of them, like, say, Jump Force, didn't turn out the way that we hoped it'd be, it was still great announcements. It still brought a lot of excitement. The crowd was, I think, way more excited last year about the announcements than they were this year. For some, there were some big announcements that came by, but we'll talk about all that. The world premiere announcements, the winners. I don't think I'm gonna go over every single category winner like I did last week, because it's a lot. It's a hell of a lot. I don't want to, drag the show on with it, but there are a lot. So I want to go over some of the more important things and then talk about the world premieres, definitely. Especially one of the biggest world premieres at the quote-unquote Microsoft Theater, which now that I realized that it was the Microsoft Theater, it was much more appropriate that this said announcement was told. To somewhat fanfare. To somewhat great fanfare, and we're going to talk about that too. But yeah, we're going to talk about all the world premieres. We're going to definitely talk about some of the main categories that we had to discuss or yesterday. But overall, I enjoyed it. I thought they did a great job. The presentation of the event was very, very Oscar-like. People came in, they represented the star. It was a very star-studded, event. Norma Reedus, Elon Musk, Stephen Curry was presenting an award. Green Day performed. It was awesome. You had commercials with Carl Weathers in his Mandalorian gear, which, by the way, This is Friday. Mandalorian is out. Go check it out. Not only is The Mandalorian out, real quick, Mandalorian is out. I believe The Witcher may be out today, or if not next week. But also, Harley Quinn is out today as well, and The Runaways, the final season. So I just want to point that out real quick before we go, because there will not be a Sunday episode. I am going away, so I just want to point it out, and I'll talk about that at the end of this show too, because there's a lot of things going on this week, including jury duty, which thank God I was able to get one show in this week for that. But I digress. The presentation of the show was just phenomenal. It gets bigger every year. Kudos to Jeff Keighley. Kudos to the entire team, but his vision has grown, and this is he's such an inspiration to me. If I ever get the opportunity to interview guy, I mean, I think I probably could have like years ago, possibly, but this dude is on a level like right now, he can shrug me off at this point. But if I ever get that opportunity, man, he's such an inspirational dude. For one person to come up with an idea, and for him to get a bunch of trusted people to come up to work with him on this idea, to present this award ceremony, to really give so much more legitimacy to the gaming industry by doing this. And at this time, the award show is legit. You know, they've worked hard to make it as legit as possible, to make it, fan-based, to make it, as moral and ethical as possible, because there are some award shows that are more political than anything. This show didn't give off that political vibe, and there's no really need for it to have a political vibe. So it's just solely based on the elements of what makes a great game experience, and that's what I love. I don't watch too many game or award ceremonies, because it's pretty much all the same. They've all been tainted over the years, whether it's music or movies. It's just been tainted in some cases, and the Game Awards to me is right now, because it's still at its early stages, it's very pure, and I hope it remains pure as long as it could possibly be. So let's talk about it. Like I said, it was a great event this year. We're gonna go do some of the awards right now, and so I'll just try to run down this as quickly as possible with it. Game of the year. It was up to Control, Death Stranding, Resident Evil, Sekiro, Shadow Dice Twice, Super Smash Bros. And Outer Worlds, and the winner became Sekiro Shadow Dice Twice. I've heard a hell of a lot about this game, something I wasn't really into going into, and I shout out to my man Craig Holland, who shoots it to the moon, said it was a great game. He had enjoyed it very much, but I can't argue about it. I mean, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate is a absolutely great game as well. It's a definite love letter to video games in itself. Death Stranding, I heard mixed reviews about, but I think it's there out of respect in a sense, and it did have some quality music and some other things going on. It had a star-studded cast and everything as well. I heard Control was really good. Outer Worlds, I've also heard many things about that, but I'm not mad at the decision here. Resident Evil 2 also was in there too, and that's saying a lot for Resident Evil 2 to even be nominated, considering it's a remake of an old game. So right there. Best Community Support, which was actually the very first category that was announced, and Destiny 2 won for that one over Final Fantasy 14, Fortnite, Tom Clancy's Rainbow Six, and Apex Legends. Best Score, Death Stranding. I knew that was going to win. It's a Hollywood quality production with that game. Best Narrative, Disco Elysium has won for that. Best Fighting Game, I am absolutely okay with this category. So for fighting game, we talked about this last week. We had Dead or Alive 6, which I'm sure is a great... Dead or Alive 6 is always a fun game, but I'm not going to get it until that thing reaches like $20 and all that DLC gets turned down. It's like they charge ridiculous amounts of money for that. Jump Force, which should have never been in this game. I knew this was just a filler, so that's that. Mortal Kombat 11. If any other game that I thought that should have won or could have won, it's that one. Had a phenomenal story, a star-studded cast. It had, some of the best production of any video game, of any fighting game. The best. Samurai Showdown was also nominated. I can respect that. I heard only great things about the game, but it does lack a lot of the presentation that some of the other games have had. But the winner turned out to be Super Smash Bros. Ultimate. And I am very much okay with that because that game, which I believe was also announced last year, it superseded our expectations. I not only shed a tear, I shed a tear when I first turned that game on and I'm hearing the music and everything. It was just so great. And I beat the game like probably 3 or 4 times before I really took a break from it. It's so great. And they still keep going with content. They got Terry Bogard in there now. It's just awesome. It's the Mount Rushmore. It's the Mount Rushmore, between the Mount Rushmore and the actual like video game Hall of Fame. Yeah, literally, if you're not in this game, you're not iconic at this point. And there's a lot of, even though there's a lot of new great games out right now, that game right there, it really, and that's not saying anything about like Xbox games, but they haven't had that type of, that connection to really add on those games. I mean, you even got indie games in there, like Yacht Club's Shovel Knights is actually in there, which, by the way, I will, when I get back into the swing of things, if I don't have jury duty, I will be reviewing Shovel Knight's Showdown. Trust me, I will. I will. Like, Yacht Club, man. Whew, those boys are no joke. Those folks are no joke over there. Best audio design goes to Call of Duty Modern Warfare. Best strategy game goes to Fire Emblem Three Houses. I am trying not to get that game, and I'm probably going to wind up getting that game. Fire Emblem games are really great. It doesn't matter whether it's the Warriors version or the original traditional version. I've always somehow, for some reason, enjoyed the games. The art design is just spectacular. It's gorgeous. Lighting and color and shadows and just beautiful, just stunning. Just to look at it alone is just stunning. So I expected them to be getting some awards. Content Creator of the Year goes to Michael Gerzik, or he goes by the name of Shroud. I swear to goodness, it's the one thing I hate about the gaming communities, these stupid names. Like, it's not even just that they're stupid. It's just like they're names that they're so hard to pronounce. And maybe it's just my ass getting old or whatever. But it's just like, come on, you can come up with better names. Like do what the hip hop community do. When the hip hop community, you come up with some really fly ass names. That right there, it's like, okay, yeah, all right, whatever. So it's just like the SNL skit when they were poking fun at the E-League game tag gamer tag names. So moving on, we got Best Art Direction, which went to Control, and every category in here too was just well deserved to be nominated. Control, Death Stranding, Grease, which looked really stunning. Looks like watercolor. It looks like watercolor coming to life. Sayonara Wild Hearts, Sekiro, Shadow Die Twice, and Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening. Which, if you guys remember, I said I was rooting for that. I didn't expect that to win, but I was rooting for that one to win because it was just awesome. But yeah, I'm not mad at that win anyway. My all favorite category here, aside from fighting game, was action game. Shout out to my man Ruben Langdon. If you heard him on the soundbite of the earlier this show, and that was meant for a reason, that was by design, is because best action game of the year went to Devil May Cry 5. I was not expecting this. I wanted it. I was not expecting it because Gears 5 was there, and a lot of people like Gears 5. Astral Chain was phenomenal this year, but Devil May Cry made a huge comeback this year. It was absolutely fantastic. Ruben Langdon returned as Dante, Johnny Young Bo, the new Brawley, if you will, returned as Nero, and he had a great story coming from this, and it was just fantastic. It is well deserved. I was extremely excited. I reached out. I contacted Ruben via text because I never like calling him because, one, he's traveling everywhere or he's overseas or whatever like that. A lot of times he's in Japan, so it's like hard to get anybody unless we're Skyping or whatever like that. Or he's just always traveling. So the best thing for me to do is to text him. But I did congratulate him, and I don't think he actually knew. I really don't think he knew, because I looked at the time stamp of when I texted him, and he replied back, and then he announced it on his Facebook page and of the win. So I don't think he knew until I contacted him, but well deserved, man. It was, and by the way, I'll be thanking him again. Like I'll thank all of our guests this year. Thank him for coming on to the show to talk about that and a whole host of other things that we were talking about. And thank God him and his friends are still alive from all that situation. It's been a hell of a year for him. Just a hell of a year, and this is the culmination of that. This also says that we could see a Devil May Cry 6 because of that. That they did an awesome job with it. I really look forward to seeing what they're going to do next with that and seeing what Ruben is going to be doing as well. So kudos to all of y'all on that point. Game for Impact. The actual winner for that is Grease by Nomada Games and Developer Digital. Best Family Game. This is the funniest category of the entire show because the entire category for Best Family Games are all Nintendo games. Every one of them. You got Luigi's Mansion 3, you got Ring Fit, you got Super Mario Maker 2, you got Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, you got Yoshi's Crafted World. And I like the little joke that Jeff Keighley said. He was like, I don't know, guys, but I like Nintendo's odds here. But surprisingly to me, I wasn't expecting, I didn't think this was going to win, but Luigi's Mansion 3 actually won. So I was going to think like Super Mario Maker, but then again, that's a little bit for the hardcore, if you will, with that. So, because there's a lot of design factors to it, so I can see that. Super Smash Brothers, I also see winning. Ring Fit Adventure has to be a filler because that just came out. I don't expect everybody to have jumped into that so quickly, but it does look fun. And Yoshi's Crafted World. So, in a sense, I guess I can see why Luigi's, Mansion 3 have won there, too. And there is some co-op elements to that game, too. So, kudos to Nintendo on that note. I just thought that was funny. Best sports racing game. This was another surprise to me. You had FIFA 20 by EA Sports, which I would have thought won. F1 2019. You had eFootball Pro Evolution Soccer 2020 by PES or PES Productions and Konami. Dirt Rally. And then you had Crash Teams Racing Nitro Fueled by Activision. And wouldn't you know it, that was the one that won. Crash Team Racing Nitro. I know people like that game. I didn't know it was that good to beat like FIFA. Like FIFA's always a great game that wins a lot of awards and stuff like that. It gets a lot of good reviews. So that was really surprising. Best mobile game goes to Call of Duty Mobile. And that beat out Sayonara Wild Hearts. That beat Sky Children of the Light. What the Golf. Grindstone. That beat out that. By the way, I want to cut just for a minute. There is a ton of news in the world of gaming. There was a new indie world game that came out with some really cool announcements as well. But unfortunately, due to time restraint, we won't be talking about that. Hopefully we can get that in next week as well. There was a ton of great news, not just from here, but outside of that. So hopefully we'll get to that. Like I said, if I don't have jury duty, we're going to talk about all that next week and before the Christmas time comes. Because once Christmas comes and New Year's comes, I'm going to be out. This is going to be like a hiatus for a bit of this of all my shows. So as you would expect. So, moving on, we got Best Multiplayer Game that went to Apex Legends by Respawn Entertainment and Electronic Arts. Best Ongoing Game went to Fortnite. I'm really surprised that Overwatch didn't get picked this year for that. That's interesting. I'm really looking forward to next year to see it because Overwatch 2 is coming. I think that's going to be in. I really think it's going to be recognized next year at that. But then again, Fortnite, I mean, it makes sense because Fortnite redesigned their entire game to do some new things, and they constantly are changing things around constantly. So I'm not surprised at this at all. Not surprised. But the funny part about this was there was a vote on Twitch, I believe, for fans to vote as to who they thought was going to win that category. And lo and behold, they voted Final Fantasy 14. Fortnite ended up winning. And, I mean, it's not... I can see why. Like, they're constantly giving... This Saturday, they did announce that this Saturday they're going to be doing a special Star Wars edition showing clips of the movie in the game. So you have to go into the game to watch the movie in a certain place. And then also they're giving away gliders. for the game too. So if you're on the game on Saturday, you need to jump on because they're giving away some really cool content and some sneak peeks at the Last Jedi. So that's awesome as well. So, I mean, they get a lot of support from like Disney, from you can't beat that. Once you get that Disney contract and agreement, it's done. So that's very understandable. Best VR AR game goes to Best Beat Saber and Beat Games, which also they announced that there will be a Green Day version, which was announced later on a show for that. So there's an expansion for that as well. So you got that. Best Performance. This went to Mads Kesselin or McKesselin as Cliff on Death Stranding. So he won that. Death Stranding got another award, got an actual award for that. I think they got two. This is the second award Death Stranding got for the night. Player's Voice. I guess this is the viewer's choice portion of it, and that went. The choices were Death Stranding, Fire Emblem 3 Houses, Star Wars Jedi, Fallen Order, Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, and it went to Fire Emblem 3 Houses. So that's awesome. Fresh indie game, ZA/UM for Disco Elysium. Best role-playing game went to Disco Elysium again. Best independent game went to Disco Elysium. Now, I'm stopped here with the best independent game portion because I believe, if I'm correct, this is the portion of the show. This is the category where Reggie Fils-Aimé, the former CEO of Nintendo, which is now by Doug Bowser, he actually came out to do to present the award for best independent game. Also doing so, he was allowed time to give a really good speech, and it just reminded me of how great and great of an iconic and legendary dude Reggie Fils-Aimé is. And like I said, when I first saw him, God, he said 16 years ago. I can't believe it's been that long that he's doing it. But honestly, he aged pretty good. He looked just like he did back then in this sense. But 16 years ago, he came in and he was very charismatic, phenomenal speaker. And I think that's the part that lure people again, because he has this Bob Iger or Michael Eisen type of way of talking, like very Disney-like. When he talks about Nintendo and his love for video games, it's very heartwarming. It's inviting. It's really, really well done. And he makes you understand why there is a love and importance for the game. And he also was talking and focused on the indie game developers, and just hearing him talk about them and how important they are, how much of a voice that they are. And I called them the true free thinkers of the industry, because these are guys. I mean, if you heard this show before, you heard any of our Talk Time Live exclusive interviews with Yacht Club Games, with Way Forward, with the Gentle Brothers, and just a whole bunch of guys just being able to leave their element. And as a person who left corporate world to do his own thing, which is why I'm on this show talking about this now, I empathize with all of that. And seeing that these guys had a voice and a vision to create their own thing and take a risk to do it, it's nothing short of phenomenal. And to hear Reggie talk about how important it was, I literally shed a tear just hearing him talking about that. And it was very near and dear, because I've had the honor of playing and reviewing so many and talking to the people behind some really, really, really phenomenal games, that some of them, it was only 3 people. Others, it was like a little over 100. And that was because they started growing from their success of the previous games. And they were able to afford, more people from that point. So it's really important to support the indie developers a lot. And which is why I like having indie developers, because their story, to me, is much better. And that goes for Retrosoft Studios. Mike Herman. Shout out to him. I just had him on the show. He's making a lot of noise, and he's making himself shown around different places. Talking about the new wrestling game that we much definitely need on the Nintendo Switch. So we get people like that, and it's just you hear some awesome stories from it. It's not just be able to play a really cool game, but the backstories behind it, in the making of it, it's just, God, if you don't get inspired by that, I don't know what to tell you. If you can't listen to the stories of the people, rather that I interviewed on this show, or just the stories of, it's not just about making video games. It's or playing video games. This is more or less the making of it and the stories that led to it. Those are so inspiring, man. And kudos to Reggie Fils-Aimé, man. This dude's he's a rock star. He came out with sunglasses like he knew. Called himself Reggie Fils-Aimé. So I love it. I absolutely love it. That was one of my favorite moments of the entire award show, bar none. Best game direction went to Death Stranding. So actually, I think this might be 3 categories. I lost count. Best action and adventure game went to Sekiro. Shadow Die Twice by Activision and From Software. Then they had that had a heavy, Death Stranding was on that. Legend of Zelda: Link's Awakening, Resident Evil, Borderlands 3, which surprisingly Borderlands 3 did not come up much on a lot of the games. So that one. Best esport game went to League of Legends. Okay, Overwatch was nominated for this one. Best esport coach went to Danny Zonic Sorensen for Australia's Counter-Strike Global Offensive. You had best esport event, the League 2019 League of Legends World Champions won. Damn it, I wanted Overwatch League Grand Finals to win because it was in Philly, but that's all good. It's all good, but we'll see what we have next year, or 2020 or 2021 when the Fusion Arena comes in. My God, that's going to be insane. Best esport host. This I was disappointed in. FJ, what is it? His name is FJ Deportere. I was hoping for Alex Mendez, aka Golden Boy, to win. I think, and he was there yesterday presenting something else as well. He is absolutely phenomenal. I haven't heard FJ, and maybe I should. I'm biased because I heard him at the CEO tournaments. I heard him on AEW. And for a guy to be able to do commentary for the gaming industry is one thing, but be able to transition himself over to wrestling as a commentator, because doing wrestling commentary is absolutely different from what you do on in the gaming industry. And there's 2 different philosophies, and 2 different industries, and 2 different sports, and it's not easy to do. So you got to be an uber fan of both. And not only that, you got to carry yourself in a certain way. And I don't think he gets that credit. Golden Boy is no joke. And I think, I can't speak for all the other ones, but I don't know if the other ones are actually doing 2 different sports. And like, he's kind of like the Mauro Ranallo of gaming right now. So, but it was awesome to see that he got nominated nonetheless. It was awesome. He's phenomenal. Kudos to him on that. Best esport team. G2 Esports, League of Legends won that. Best esport player, Kyle Bugga. Geardolf won that. That was the one that Stephen Curry actually got from the and presented for that one. So that was all the categories for that there. Looks like a lot of great reaction from fans on Twitter about it. And it's really a great night. Oh God, I forgot. Akumi Nakamura actually made an appearance as well. She's so adorable. She is so adorable, but she was really cool. She was really cool there too. They also talked about Cyberpunk 2077. We know we're all anticipating it. Well, there's going to be a big soundtrack on that with that too. And one of my favorite hip hop artists, Run the Jewels, is going to be a part of it. A$AP Rocky, Nina Kravitz, Deadly Hunter, Rap Boy, Tina Gao, and the list goes on. There's going to be a lot of people doing soundtracks for this game, so they're really looking forward to making this game big. You got to, because Keanu Reeves is in there. You can't go wrong on that. Like, seriously. So looking forward to that right there. That is just pretty much awesome. Ninja was there too, presenting an award as well. There was actually, it's funny, one of the funniest things that will happen on Twitter is that a guy named Temporo Zero, I believe, spotted a guy that was actually sleeping in the crowd. Like it's a really great picture of the guy. Just like he looks like he's out of it. A lot of people were upset, like I said, about Final Fantasy 14 getting snubbed for that award. But, you got to respect, Fortnite for what it is. You got to respect it. So, and Green Day did a fantastic performance as well. At the end of the night, for the Game Awards, for the Game of the Year, very interesting to note, and I'll start with this as one of the world premieres. Vin Diesel and Michelle Rodriguez came out to present Game of the Year. Two legit avid, gamers themselves. Vin Diesel, as you guys know, has created games for his Riddick franchise, which were always said to be good. Michelle Rodriguez had been in video games, and she constantly gamer. She's a well-known gamer herself as well. They presented it, but also presenting the final game world premiere of the night, which it was respectfully applauded. I'm going to say that. It was respectfully applauded. It didn't look like it was finished, but Fast and Furious. There is a Fast and the Furious game that will be coming out for the Xbox and the PlayStation 4. Now, which will have the voices of all the the actors in the movie. Tyrese is in there, Michelle Rodriguez is in there, and also Vin Diesel. All of them reprising their roles from Fast and Furious. And the problem that I saw, and I think a lot of people saw this too, and this is kind of the same kind of lukewarm reaction that people had when they saw Avengers, Marvel's Avengers for the first time, because that was not fully developed. And hopefully this is in the works for it to happen. Vin Diesel also announced that he saw the trailer to Fast 9. So I think people got more of a reaction for that than they did the actual game. Again, it could be in a certain stage right now. But the graphics on there looked a lot to me like Enter the Matrix from like the PlayStation 2 era. Like it didn't look that good. The framework didn't look as good. So hopefully it's still in development right now. Like that's not the full game, because I don't think that they want to have a game like that. And I got Jackson Ryan on Twitter made a comment, and it's hard to. I think he went a little bit too deep on the comment, but he was saying how we have gamers forever, and we are now at the Game Awards to show our people. Can they tell? Can tell they've been gamers for years, because the new Fast and Furious game looked like it plays on the Super NES. I wouldn't go that far. That's a little bit too shady, but. It does. I mean, like for me, like when I visualized it, it like legitimately, it legitimately looked like Enter the Matrix, and the way that it moved, the way that it would react. So hopefully, again, that we'll see more. Hopefully, that we'll see absolutely more from that as well, and it actually starts to get a polish. The world premieres. Let's talk about that. We got to talk about the world premieres. The first world premiere, and I thought this was very well strategized and good to get the crowd hype. They showed the trailer to Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3 X-Men Rise of the Phoenix, the newest expansion, which was said to be coming out in 2020, if I remember correctly. No, it is coming out way earlier. This will be released on the 23rd of December. So we will get this before the new year, and there's a lot to be excited about. The newest additions to the game. I still don't understand why Beast was not picked to be one of them, but I'm not mad at the selection of the people who went over that. Shout out to Fred Tatasciore on that note. The one mutant that I was hoping that will be on this game is officially on this game. It was a crapshoot. It was a shot in the dark. Damn it, it happened. Cable is going to be on Ultimate Alliance 3. I cannot wait for that. That is so awesome. He looks fantastic. Like, the art design in this game is so awesome. This is so beautiful. Iceman will be back. He's making his return. Like, all these characters are making a return. They were in Ultimate Alliance 2, and just fantastic. I'm so waiting for this. Iceman is back. Gambit is back. And, of course, it's called Rise of the Phoenix. You can't have that without having Jean Grey herself reprising as Phoenix. So This is going to be awesome. Not only is there going to be new characters, there's going to be a new gauntlet mode for it, but also a new mode called Danger Room. So you're going to be able to have the Danger Room, thing. And I think it's like a, player, a PvE type of, game, where you play the computer, you versus a computer. And then also you can play with co-op with players, I think online and whatever like that. But it looks really cool. I can't wait. Everything looks awesome in that game. So I'm very much looking forward. I'm very excited about this game as well. Also, what else did it came out? I think I don't know about that. Humankind, a new game was announced. There was a lot more new IPs out. And some of the IPs look exciting. Some of them was like, okay, I got to see more before I get there. Humankind was announced for this as a interesting game that's coming out very soon. No More Heroes was officially announced to come out in 2020. They had an extended trailer. It looks awesome. I didn't know what to make of this trailer. It's exclusively coming out for the Nintendo Switch. I thought it was a animated movie that was coming out. No, this was No More Heroes coming out. Which, by the way, for those who have watched it, you know that there's a big sale going on in honor of the Game Awards that I believe is going to be going on throughout the entire weekend. It's out today. Go out of your way to get it. I got No More Heroes for half off. So it was $14.99. So, the I guess the prequel or, whatever that game is that they came out with. So I got that for $14.99 out there. So, go out of your way to get it. They also showed a new extended trailer to Final Fantasy Remake, which has everybody still chomping at the bits. And I am looking forward to that game. I truly predict that's going to be in the running for Game of the Year, if not win Game of the Year next year. I'm sticking to that. This game is extremely much highly anticipated. I mean, extremely high anticipated. Got one of the biggest reactions of the night too, from the audience, and it was just really, really good to see that. And I'm looking. It's coming out in March 4th, I believe. I can't wait for that. They also, NetherRealm Studios also announced that Joker's coming, so we're going to see that. We also, I believe that Cassie Cage was also dressed like Harley Quinn. I believe that was her, and she was dressed like Harley Quinn, and I believe that they'll have extra skins for that on that game. So be on the lookout. January 28th, it's coming, and it doesn't matter because we still have to. Spawn's not coming out until later after that. So we got that. I think one of the biggest news that came out is the world premiere announcement at the Microsoft Theater of the new Xbox Series X. This is, in fact, the brand new Xbox that they've been waiting to announce for quite some time. It was announced at the Microsoft Theater, and although it looks like a giant Amazon device, I'm going to say that because I actually have the device, and if I say the word, it'll answer to it. So I will not say the word, but you know what I'm saying. It looks like a giant Amazon device that you ask for Alexa. So, despite that, which is, I mean, I like that design. I know people are, sort of joking about that design, but it is a more sleek version. It does fit in really cool places, so I don't mind it. I actually don't mind the design to the Xbox. I don't know what it's going to consist of. I know it's 4K in there. They did show one of the games that it will be playing on there, and that was Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga, and I believe they said it was in-game engine graphics. And if that's the case, and I've been talking about how much more can we actually improve in graphics. If this is the case, I think there is a possibility that we can improve graphics, because the woman in this game looks insanely real. I couldn't tell if it was actually a real person. And I sound like my wife, because my wife will look at certain games on a PlayStation 4 and look at it, it's like, is that real? And I'm like, you can obviously see it's real. And maybe it's because through my eyes or through a gamer's eyes, you know the difference between reality and gaming reality, so to speak. But this, I can't fathom even if this is real or not. It was really whether the woman in this commercial was real or not. I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see how this looks as time goes by. But they have announced it just right around the corner when PlayStation 5 announced it. We're getting the new generation's coming in 2020. Hopefully, the new generation to a lot of things is coming in 2020. Let me tell you. So, Godfall reveal trailer is also here. It looked very interesting as well. It didn't show too much as to what that offers, but it looks like something. It looks stunning visual game design. Very much looking forward to seeing what they have. Bravely Default 2 has been announced for the Nintendo Switch. Warframe has a new expansion. Warframe looks good. I hate freemium games. I don't trust freemium games after my experience with mobile games in the past, but it looks great. And this new, the first one was kind of like Space Ninja. They're going for a pirate theme this time. So I expect that to be pretty good for gamers out there. Theros Beyond Death, which is a Magic the Gathering title, has been announced as well. Control Official Expedition, which I believe is an expansion, as a free update expansion, which I also believe is out right now. I could be wrong, but I believe they said that was announced now. Sons of the Forest was announced, which is a really, really creepy game. I am not messing with that. Roaring King League of Legends expansion has been announced as well, but that could be out right now as well. Ori and the Will of the Wisp, they showed a trailer for that. Weird West was announced, another Magic Legends game has been announced as well. A lot of Magic games here. Then they also finally, which was one of the biggest trailers and presentations, world premiere presentations that they did, because this came with the orchestra as well, with an orchestrated performance as well. Ghost of Tsushima, which does look absolutely phenomenal. It looks so great. So I am loving it. Actually, a Xbox game that I was actually interested in playing, Gears Tactics. That looks actually pretty cool. I was never really a fan of Gears itself. I couldn't play Gears. It was very challenging, but at the same time, I never liked that style of gaming where you gotta pan only in the back. There's some games I actually did play, like Transformers War on Cybertron, and the sequel to that. I played that. Other than that, I'm really not too much of a fan of that. And I know Avengers is going to be doing the same thing, and God of War did the same thing, and so I don't like there. Maybe it's just the shooter aspect that I don't like, because God of War was kind of a melee as well. So I do like the melee part, and maybe that's why I'm probably going to possibly enjoy Marvel Avengers when that comes out as well. But we'll see. Naraka Blade Point reveal was this was the game that was created and developed by a China game development, and it looks pretty awesome so far. So I'm looking forward to that. Then we had Green Day Performance, which also talked about the Beat. What is it? The Beat Mania? I forgot the name of that game that they're going to be on, but they announced the trailer for that. Black Desert Mobile has been announced. New World looks really cool. A lot of these games, they didn't really show exactly what they were going to be and what they were going to be about. Even when Jeff Keighley kind of interviewed them, it gave sort of a vague description of what the game is going to be. They didn't say what kind of genre it was going to be. Some of them were more obvious, like 9 to 5. It was going to be an obvious game right there. A huge announcement, which surprisingly got a lukewarm reaction to the crowd. Wolf Among Us 2 is coming. That means Telltale is back in full force. I am so happy about that. As I play Batman War Within, or The Enemy Within, I was really, really mad at the road that these guys had to go through and all the stuff that they had. Like, they should continue to be making games. And The Wolf Among Us 2 The Wolf Among Us period was one of a lot of gamers' favorite games. So I'm so happy to see them come back. I hope this is the start of more games to come, because the Telltale games is a league of their own. And I know others have tried to do what they've done, but they do it so spectacular. We need to keep them going. As the one game development company that they absolutely need to be going for too. So, Elder Scrolls Online Elsewhere is announced as well. Asgard's Wrath has been announced. And of course, I talked about the Fast and the Furious Crossroads trailer, which didn't look as impressive right now. And of course, it could be in early development, so I'm not gonna shade it too much. But overall, like I said, this show was absolutely great. Again, kudos to Jeff Keighley. Kudos to the entire team who put it together. Everybody had the same purpose. This reminded me of AEW, of how you got a collect group of people who wanted to see change in the industry, who wanted to bring legitimacy to the industry, to an industry, and they did so thanks to Jeff Keighley and his vision to bring it to life. Again, I say this every year, and I'm going to keep saying it. We got a lot of people in this world. And one of the reasons why I actually go out of my way to get a lot of guests on this show is because we get a lot of people who aspire to want to be in the gaming industry. Voice actors for anime or video games. Comic book artists. You got people who want to be producers. You got people who want to be actors. You got people who want to be game developers. Well, the reason why Talk Time Live exists is to actually have people on here to be able to learn from them, to be able to be inspired by them, like a Jeff Keighley, like a Reggie Fils-Aimé, like a Desmond Wong, like a Mike Herman, like the guys at Way Forward and the guys at Yacht Club Games, or Trinket Studios. You got all these people who come on this show to tell you a story, who creates the Game Awards to give you legitimacy, to give you opportunity to be recognized. I say that to get people to aspire to not be afraid. I am 42 years old. I'm going to be 43 next year in January. When I was in college, the one thing that they always said, the one thing that my late mother have always told me even before I got into college, get yourself in shape before you turn 30 because everything is going to be going down here from there. She was not lying. I now own a Peloton because I listen to my mother. But the other thing is that when you're in school, they always tell you, make sure that you reach to your goals before you hit 40 and take note, the world changes every so often, as well as the ideology and everything that changes from that. So what was 5-10 years ago kind of slightly altered now, so it may not be the case, but still. I mean, we got people having kids at the age of 50 and up. So, I mean, who's to say? But the general idea is that you're supposed to be established by the time you hit 40. Now, granted, again, they're saying that as the world is not as structured as the way it was supposed to be, because things have changed due to situations and due to obstacles and racism and a whole bunch of different things and trials and tribulations that come by. But that's just still not give you an excuse to try to reach your vision and your goals. As a multimedia developer myself, who absolutely help people brand their names, who brand their, who create their dreams, or I hate to say create their realities, create their visions. I help people reach their goals and take those who take risk. If you want to do and want to be acknowledged and want to be a part of this, don't make excuses. You're not too old to do it. You're not too shy. You're just you. And you are whoever you want to be. And once you've realized that, and once you have the energy and a diligence and the assertiveness to get out there and work hard, to have fun, to do all these things that these people are doing, and what I'm doing, it won't happen. But you got to make it happen. You have to realize that you want it, but you got to work for it. And shout out to Jeff Keighley, because if he didn't have that understanding, that Game Awards was just like a few thousand people in an arena, and then it became a theater and different theaters every year. And now it's a star-studded event. yeah, it starts with one person, but then it becomes a team. And you got to have a team full of people that are really willing to make it happen. You can't have anchors in your deal. You can't have people who doesn't, as what Will Smith says, who doesn't fuel your flame. Anybody who tries to douse it, you get away from those people. Anybody who doubts you, you get away from them people. But you find your own encouragement. You get your ego, and I mean the psychological term of the ego, where it allows you to overcome adversity and, you know, have the confidence enough to do what you set out to do. Once you get all that, man, it's no telling what you could do. I am damn sure living proof. In 2019, nobody can take that away from me. Nobody. I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen in 2020, and I'm not going to do it alone. I'm determined to find a team of people that's going to help me make A.C.M.Gs bigger than ever. And I'm going to have it's God willing, by any means or whatever, I'm going to make it happen. Guaranteed. And I'm going to start shouting out right now to an old friend of mine who has helped me with that, and that is Kim Lewis, who's an old college friend of mine. Also, she is a Emmy Award-winning art director. So having her around to help me out, and, you know, people in the A.C.M.G group have seen a slight bit of what's happening, but we're going to be brainstorming a lot. Hopefully, it'll start for something more, and we can start getting things on the road, and I can start getting more people that are skilled and enthusiastic and energetic to do so. I want to be able to do what Jeff Keighley's doing. I want to be able to have fun doing it. I want to be able to have more people experience what I've experienced from all the hard work that I've put into it. I want that for more people. So if you're listening to this right now, and if you have some set of skills in the world of media and stuff like that, you know, hit us up. Hit me up. You know, you can find me on Instagram at DaxXavier_Josiah. You can find me there. And you can find me on the A.C.M.G Facebook group at facebook.com/groups/ACMG1. You can reach out to me on anything. Go to VFISAD.com. You can reach me out there. And man, I mean, I'm ready. This, if anything that the Game Awards has done for me, is really kind of revitalized me. That speech from Reggie revitalized me a bit. As we're nearing the end of this year, who knows what's going to happen next year? God willing, we'll be able to make more magic next year here at Talk Time Live and A.C.M.G as well. So, man, what a year it has been, not just for games, but for everything. Not this Sunday, but the next episode of Select Start, I believe not only I will be reviewing, what is that? Shovel Knight's Showdown, but I will also be talking about the year end of video games. I will look back at a lot of the games that we have played. It is a lot. If I don't have jury duty, that's what we're going to do. And I think followed by that, we're going to be, I might have to, let me see. Yeah, because the week after is absolutely Christmas, so that won't be happening. And New Year's is coming. So maybe during New Year's week, possibly, I'm not sure. But we'll work it out. But if not, I'll condense all that in with the review of Shovel Knight Showdown, and then followed by also the year end of games, and possibly like the top 10 games that I enjoyed playing throughout 2019. I looked at the list of my purchase history for just Nintendo Switch and on. It's a lot. It's a lot. My God. God bless tax deduction. So, but enough said. Yeah, we will have it. But of course, again, this Sunday I will be out because I am actually going to be traveling this Sunday. So this is going to be out. I got jury duty on Monday. If I don't have jury duty, if I don't get picked for jury duty next week, then we will be having a show. If not, then we might be on hiatus until going into the new year. So I will keep you posted to that. You'll definitely see some new notifications or whatever. So stay tuned for all that and much more. People, thank you so much. This has been a great episode of Select Start. Thank you all for joining us again. You can follow us. You can follow me on Instagram again at DaxXavier_Josiah. You can also check me out on TalkTimeLive.com. You can check me out on the A.C.M.G Facebook group. You can follow this show on iTunes, iHeartRadio, Google Podcasts, Podbean, and God knows much more. And also Stitcher Radio as well. You can check us all out there. Thank you guys for the support. Thank you, everybody, for everything that has happened on this show. I mean, all of our guests, everything in here. I'm so blessed to be able to have all that. For any of those who supported the show, who supported me, thank you so very, very much. Even to those who threw shade or didn't support me, thank you. You're not helping my case by doing that, because that just always fuels me up and keeps me going. So I just hope that in 2020, with all the mental illness situations, I forgot to mention that too. It's very important I have to mention this, but the Game Awards also did something very special as well. I wish I should have done it sooner, but they did a lot of global gaming focus on developers from all around the world that are creating really great games. There was a team in Afghanistan, an all-female game coding team, development team in Afghanistan. It was a really great story. You had a refugee from I forgot where he was from, but he was a refugee that he started coding games himself. He lived in a third world country, and he just decided he wanted to code games after his mom raised him $300 to do so. Again, you got all these people who, without the means that we have, there's no excuse for it. You got a kid who's creating a game to help people with mental illness or depression issues. There was a lot of that. And what I loved about this year with the Game Awards is that there was a big message out there that's saying, we had people who were talking about addiction situations and trying to bring a negative spin on the video game industry and video game culture. Jeff Keighley and the gang decided to put a positive spin in what was going on here. And I deeply appreciate that, because you can make games that help people. You had the military group that were trying to help people with PTSD, and they were gamers out there. There was an Overwatch squad, and if somebody was going through something, through what they went through in war, when they were enlisted and they went out there, there's a team that goes out of their way to come to the person's house and be there for them and talk about their situation to help them through it. So I don't want to hear anything else about how, yes, gaming can be addictive, but how the media put a really negative spin on it, that's what really bothered me. And how the psychologists are putting, certain psychologists or whatever is putting a spin on it, it rubbed me the wrong way. There's so much great to this industry that is highly accountable for. And how about focus on that? It was kind of the Freudian thing where you just focus on the female aspect and not the male aspect, or vice versa. Or was it the vice versa? Is the male, they focus on the male aspect, but from a female, but not vice versa. I forgot how that was. It's been a while since I took that class, but it is. Anybody who's studied psychology knows what I'm talking about. It was Freud, Sigmund Freud. He had a lot of legitimacy, but it was also half-assed research as well. But nonetheless, it was a great deal. And again, if you got people going out of their way to do what they're doing, there's no reason why you can't either. There's absolutely no reason. So just learn to reach out. In 2020, I want to see people reach out more. Get out from the proverbial bushes of the internet. Actually reach out and communicate with people. It's time. I want 2020 to be so much positive change. So much. We can't blame the president for all of our actions or all of the actions of what's going on in the world. We have to take our responsibility as well. So, folks, that will do it for this edition of Select Start. On behalf of myself, this is Dak Xavier Josiah saying, learn to let go, live life, and love all things anime, comics, movies, and games. This is A.C.M.G. Presents Talk Time Live. Folks, I'll talk to you soon, and if I don't hear from you, have a great holiday season. Take care. Music for this episode is provided by Game Chops. Check out these great chiptune tracks and more at music.gamechops.com.